Hello, my fellow minor league nerds, and welcome to our newest Mostly Forgotten Teams episode. In this episode, I will be covering the Jackson Mets, who played in the AA Texas League. Jackson Mets in Jackson, Texas? No, Jackson, Mississippi. That's 2 states away from Texas. This episode continues our series of honoring fellow Curved Brim Media members and honors Johnny Bolin of the Earned Fun Average. This episode is actually part 3 in our series looking at the history of this franchise, which began in Memphis in 1968, before moving to Victoria, Texas for the 1974 season. Be sure to check out the Minor League Nerd Shorts episode covering the Memphis Blues and the Mostly Forgotten Teams episode about the 1974 Victoria Toros if you haven't already. After the debacle in Victoria, the franchise was purchased by the New York Mets and moved to Jackson, Mississippi, where they became known as the Jackson Mets, sometimes being shortened to the Jacks Mets. The Mississippi state capital had not hosted professional baseball since the Jackson Senators played in the Class C Cotton States League in 1953. The team did not return in 1954, with the entire league shutting down following the 1955 season. In 1973, Doug Shanks, who was the city commissioner of Jackson, Mississippi, began spearheading a plan to build a new 5,000-seat ballpark in order to lure a new minor league team to the city. Jackson's previous teams had played downtown, at a field on the Mississippi State Fairgrounds. But the new ballpark was built on Lakeland Drive, just east of Interstate 55, in a more suburban area of northeast Jackson. The construction of the park was paid for by the federal government, with the money being secured as part of the State and Local Fiscal Assistance Act of 1972, which provided $30.2 billion to cities and states over a 5-year period. It was essentially a revenue-sharing plan by the federal government. In 1975, the Jackson City Council voted to name the ballpark Smith-Wills Stadium, after 2 local athletes, John Smith and Doug Wills, who each died in separate car accidents in 1967 and 1966. The Mets brought in John Antonelli to serve as a manager. He actually managed the Memphis Blues from 1969 to 1972, before being moved to AAA Tidewater for 1973 and 1974. The Jackson Mets started their first season on the road with back-to-back road trips against the Arkansas Travelers and the Alexandria Aces. They defeated the Travs 11-3 to win their first ever game, before dropping the next 2. In Alexandria, they managed to split the 4-game series. The week before their home opener, which was scheduled for Saturday, April 19th, it rained in Jackson. It rained a lot. So much that it delayed the wrapping up of construction of Smith-Wills Stadium. But city officials stated that they were certain that the park would be ready for opening day, which it was. Though the lights had yet to be installed, there was no roof over the press box, and the parking lot was unpaved, with the team using a trailer as a temporary office. There was rain on the morning of the 19th, with fears being that the game would be rained out. Thankfully, it stopped before fans started arriving at the ballpark, but the field was drenched. Gasoline was poured on the base paths in hopes of drying them out, with a helicopter also being brought to assist. First pitch was scheduled for 2 o'clock. When it finally arrived, the field was still too wet to play, so gas was once again poured over the base paths, and the helicopter was brought back. Both worked as the game was able to be played, though a little later than scheduled. As part of the opening day festivities, there was a skydiver who landed near second base, and a 15-man barbershop quartet group, or Pentadecaquet to be exact, was brought in to sing the national anthem, being joined by Texas League president Bobby Bragan. Patricia Dean, the wife of recently deceased Hall of Famer Dizzy Dean, who had settled in Mississippi after retiring from baseball, was to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. But she had had a mild heart attack 3 hours before the game was scheduled to begin. she would recover, living until she passed away in 1981 at the age of 74. To keep fans from getting restless during all the delays, team management put on a John Denver album to entertain them. And Jack's Mets general manager Ed Knipe's golden retriever Boozer was brought in to dazzle the crowd by retrieving balls. When the game finally began, Jackson took an early lead, scoring 1 in the first, with Arkansas taking a 2-1 lead in the second. Jackson retook the lead in the bottom of the second, holding on to win the game 6-4 in front of 2,862 fans. They won the second game of the series 4-3, before losing the next 2 to earn a split with the Travs. It went on to be an earned fun average season for the Mets, as they finished 65-65 in the East Division, drawing 77,046 fans, the third most in the league. First baseman Craig Kasich, who played 7 games in the majors with the Houston Astros in 1977, led the team with a .313 average. As a team, the Mets only hit .246. 1976 saw a little improvement, with them once again finishing in second place, this time with a 69-66 record. They finished last in hitting with a .244 team average. Lee Mazzilli played 131 games in Jackson that season, leading the team with a .292 average, 128 hits, 13 homers, 28 stolen bases, and 111 walks, before being called up to the big league club in September. He was the first of many players to go directly from Jackson to Shea Stadium. Antonelli was succeeded by Bob Wellman in 1977. He spent most of his career in the minors, appearing in 15 major league games with the Philadelphia Athletics in 1948 and 1950. He led them to their first losing record that season, when they finished 62-68, but remained in the post through the 1980 season. The 1977 team included future major leaguers Mike Scott, who went 14-10 with a 2.94 ERA in 25 starts, Juan Berenger, who finished 9-8 with a 3.43 ERA in 26 starts, as well as future big league manager Ned Yost, who hit .309 in 30 games. The Mets pitching staff threw 3 no-hitters that season. The first was thrown by John Pasella on April 15th in a 3-0 victory over Tulsa. The second was a combined no-hitter, thrown by Jeff Gross and Mike Van de Castile in a 5-0 win over Midland on June 2nd, with the final one being thrown on September 1st by Larry Pruitt in an 8-1 victory over Tulsa. 1978 saw the first of many playoff appearances for the Mets, as they won the second-half East Division title, with the Texas League adopting a split-season format starting in 1977. They ended the season with an overall record of 76-58. They took down the first-half division winners, the Arkansas Travelers, 2-1 in the Eastern Division Series, before falling in 3 straight to the El Paso Diablos in the Championship Series. Mookie Wilson led the team with a .292 average, 15 triples, and 72 RBIs. Also that season, on the night of June 22nd, he married Rosa Gilbert at home plate of Smith-Wills Stadium, in front of a hometown crowd of 1,200. The ceremony included an archway of bats held aloft by his fellow teammates. Rosa is the mother of former major leaguer Preston Wilson, whose father is Mookie's brother Richard. After marrying Rosa, to whom he is still married to today, Mookie became both Preston's stepfather and uncle. Their pitching staff was the best in the league that season, leading the league with a 3.04 ERA and 21 shutouts, giving up the fewest hits with 959 and the fewest runs at 479. They finished second with 41 complete games. Jeff Reardon led the league in victories, going 17-4, and secured the best winning percentage at .810. Neil Allen's 2.10 ERA was the best in the league. The start of the 1979 season was messed up for the Mets due to Mother Nature. They were scheduled to open the season at home against the Shreveport Captains on April 11th for a 6-game series. Every single game was postponed due to heavy rains in the area. The games that were not directly rained out were postponed due to flooding that prevented fans from reaching the ballpark. The Mets then went on the road to Shreveport for a 5-game series that began on April 17th. That game and the second one were both played, with the Mets winning both. But the rain found the Mets, and the next 3 games were all postponed as well. They arrived home on April 23rd, looking to finally play their home opener, as they were scheduled to start a 6-game set against the Arkansas Travelers. That first game was, once again, rained out. In case you lost count, that is 10 out of 12 games being rained out to start the season. Their home opener was finally played on April 24th, seeing them lose 8-4 to Arkansas. They managed to play every game in the series, even making up the rainout in a doubleheader, losing 4 out of 5. They failed to win either division half title, ending with an overall record of 70-65. All-Star third baseman and future major leaguer Hubie Brooks hit .305, while All-Star catcher and fellow major leaguer Jody Davis hit .296, leading the team with 23 doubles, 21 homers, and 91 RBIs. The 1980s were a very successful decade for the Mets, seeing them make the postseason every year except the last 2. The first team of the decade boasted a fine pitching staff, leading the Texas League with a 3.38 ERA and 24 shutouts. Future big leaguer Tim Leary finished tied for the most wins in the league at 15. He finished second with a 2.76 ERA and led the league with 6 shutouts, winning the league MVP in what was his first professional season. Southpaw reliever Jesse Orosco displayed the assortment of pitches that would soon beguile National League hitters. Mike Howard led the team with 24 stolen bases and a .291 average, tying Brian Giles with 30 doubles. The Mets made the playoffs after ending the season with a 74-62 record, but were knocked out in the first round in 2 straight games by the Arkansas Travelers, who went on to win the league championship. Future big league Mets manager Davey Johnson took over field managing duties in 1981, with the Mets winning their first Texas League championship after he led them to the first half-division title. They defeated the second half winners, the Tulsa Drillers, 2-1, before sweeping the San Antonio Dodgers 3-0 in the league championship series. They drew their most fans ever that season when 112,511 came out to root on the team, the first of 8 straight seasons drawing over 100,000. Local ownership took over the team starting in 1982, when Con Maloney purchased the team from the New York Mets. An ardent booster club also added local support, sponsoring a preseason Meet the Mets banquet, summer cookouts, and supplying personalized gifts for each Mets player and his wife at the end of the season. For the second year in a row, they won the first half-division title, but were knocked out in the first round, 2-1 by the Tulsa Drillers. Again, their pitching staff was dominant. 3 pitchers finished in the top 4 ERA leaders, including Doug Sisk, who went 11-7 with a 2.67 ERA, Jeff Bittiger, who went 12-5 with a 2.96 ERA, and Ted Davis, who finished 12-6 with a 3.49 ERA. Bittiger also led the league with 190 strikeouts. The 1982 team had 3 Mets first-round draft picks on the team, with Terry Blocker, Billy Beane of Moneyball fame, and Darryl Strawberry, who had a fantastic season in Jackson. Strawberry hit .283 and had 97 RBIs, while leading the league with 34 home runs, an all-time Jackson record, and stole 45 bases. His homers left Smith-Wills Stadium so quickly and so often, so high and far into the pine trees behind the right field wall, that fans called that area the Strawberry Patch. His stats don't truly tell how impressive he was in Jackson. Smith-Wills was a ridiculously hard ballpark in which to hit home runs. The power alleys were vast, and the air was usually thick, turning what at first looked like a sure homer into a flyout. The closest anyone has come to his 34 homers in Jackson were Ernesto Mejia, who hit 26 in 2011, and Drew Lugbauer, who hit 28 in 2022. He improved so much in Jackson over his previous 2 seasons, only hitting .255 with 13 homers while in single A ball the year before, and .268 with 5 homers in his rookie season of 1980. That he told the Sun-Herald, "I can truly say that if it wasn't for Jackson and what I did in the Texas League that year, I probably would have quit baseball." Once again in 1983, they won the first half East Division title, finishing with an overall record of 69 and 67. They swept the second half winners, the Arkansas Travelers, in 2 straight, before falling in 3 straight to the Beaumont Golden Gators in the League Championship Series, which was the first of 5 straight championship series appearances for the Mets. Their offense moved out of the cellar, seeing them finish with a .277 team average. Their outfield was particularly hard-hitting, with John Christensen finishing with a .333 average, Latrell Tarver hitting .316, and Herb Winningham hitting .354 in 78 games. Third baseman Kevin Mitchell hit .299, and future big league player and manager John Gibbons hit .298 from behind the plate. They won both halves in 1984 and also hosted the Texas League All-Star Game in front of a near-capacity crowd of 4,828. Billy Beane helped the East Division beat the West 8-7 when he hit a walk-off 2-run homer on a 1-0 changeup thrown by El Paso's Ted Higuera. They finished 83 and 55, the best overall finish in their history, and won their second Texas League championship when they gained revenge on the Beaumont Golden Gators, who also won both halves of the West Division, beating them 4-2. Billy Beane hit .281, knocking out 20, with Lenny Dykstra hitting .275 and stealing 53 bases. But once again, it was the Jacks Mets pitching staff that led the team. Calvin Schiraldi was named Pitcher of the Year after finishing 14-3. Other future big league pitchers to appear on the mound that season for the Mets included Rick Aguilera, Roger McDowell, Jay Tibbs, and Floyd Youmans. Manager Sam Perlozzo was named Texas League Manager of the Year, while GM Mike Fetter was named GM of the Year, having also won the award in 1980. 1985 saw the Mets repeat as the Texas League champions. After a poor start, they won the second half division title. In the West, El Paso won both halves. It took 2 games for the Mets to take care of the first half East Division winners, the Arkansas Travelers, before they swept the El Paso Diablos in 4 straight, winning 3 in El Paso. Their hitting was rather impressive, with Barry Lyons finishing with a .307 average and 108 RBIs. David Magadan and Randy Milligan both hit .309, and Mark Carrion hit .313. After 2 straight Texas League titles, Perlozzo was promoted to the AAA Tidewater Tides, with Mike Cubbage taking over Jackson in 1986, leading them to another second-half division title. They took the Shreveport Captains down in 3 games to win their 4th straight East Division title. Unfortunately, the El Paso Diablos gained revenge by sweeping them in 4 straight in the League Championship Series. All-star shortstop Kevin Elster appeared in 127 games for the Mets that season, hitting .269 and driving in 52. He was called up to the big league Mets, making his debut on September 2nd. He appeared in 4 games during the NLCS against Houston and played in Game 6 of the World Series against Boston, going hitless in 4 at-bats. 1987 saw the last of 5 straight East Division titles after they took down the Shreveport Captains once again in 3 games. They lost the League Championship Series for the 2nd season in a row, falling in 6 to the Wichita Pilots. Greg Jeffries led the team with 20 homers and a .376 average. He made his major league debut with the New York Mets in September. The following season saw the Jackson Mets fail to qualify for the postseason for the first time since 1979, when they finished with an overall record of 61 and 79. 1989 wasn't any better when they went 61-74 overall, seeing their attendance drop to 87,153, after drawing 134,967 the previous season, which was their highest drawing season ever. It also ended their 8 seasons of drawing over 100,000. 1990 saw them bounce back, making the postseason once again, winning the second half East Division title, with their attendance increasing to 124,142. But their playoff run was cut short when they were swept in two by the Shreveport Captains. After that season, the New York Mets purchased the Williamsport Bills of the Eastern League and moved their AA affiliation there. In 1992, that team was moved to Binghamton, New York, playing as the Binghamton Mets through the 2016 season, becoming the Binghamton Rumble Ponies in 2017. Back in Jackson, the team affiliated with the Houston Astros and were renamed the Generals, in honor of General Andrew Jackson. As the Generals, they qualified for 3 more Texas League Championship Series, winning the title in 1993 and 1996. Following the 1998 season, they were purchased by a group led by Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan, who intended to move the team to a new ballpark in Round Rock, Texas for the 2000 season, renaming them the Round Rock Express. That lame duck season saw them finish with a 68-72 record, only drawing 99,240 fans, the lowest in the league by a substantial amount. It was the only time a Texas League team drew less than 100,000 fans in the 1990s. The team lasted 5 seasons in Round Rock, qualifying for the postseason in all but 2003, winning the league championship in their first season in 2000. Following the 2004 season, they were moved to Corpus Christi, Texas, to make room for the relocating Edmonton Trappers of the AAA Pacific Coast League, who adopted the name of the Express. In Corpus Christi, the team was renamed the Hooks, a name they still play under today. As for Jackson, Mississippi, the Greenville Braves of the AA Southern League were relocated to a brand new ballpark in Pearl, Mississippi, just outside of Jackson, before the start of the 2005 season, where they became the Mississippi Braves, playing through the 2024 season. For the 2025 season, the team was moved to Columbus, Georgia, becoming the Columbus Clingstones. The Jackson area will not go without a team, though, as the Frontier League awarded an expansion team to Pearl to begin play in 2025 as the Mississippi Mud Monsters. Well, my fellow minor league nerds, that does it for this episode. Thanks for nerding out with me. And until next time, stay safe and remember to never stop supporting minor league baseball and never stop learning about minor league baseball history. Be sure to check out the Minor League Nord shirts.
You said Minor League Nord as well.
Minor League Nord shirts. For all your northern clothing wearers. Be sure to check out the Minor League Nord. I said it again. That was in my head. Minor League Nerd shorts. Nord shirts.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Data Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick and Corey of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curve Brim Media at curvebrimmedia.com.